American Sniper continues to dominate, earning more than $64 million this weekend alone. That already puts it above the $200 million mark with no end in sight. Director Clint Eastwood was asked about what sort of statement comes from this film, and he said the following. The biggest anti-war statement any film can make is to show the fact of what war does to the family and the people who have to go back into civilian life like Chris Kyle did. Pete Hegseth, CEO of Concerned Veterans for America and a Fox News contributor. Pete, good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning.
Back here. 200 million. They say it'll easily top 300 million, if not more than that. Why do you think this film resonates rather the way it has?
You know, I think it touches the core civic values that we have as Americans: duty, honor, country, fidelity, patriotism, love of your country, but also care and love for others. You know, people that are served in the military believe it's the largest institution for peace in the world. You don't serve in the military so you can perpetuate war. You do it so you can defend your fellow countrymen and women and preserve peace. So when Clint Eastwood is talking about you know, these types of things prevent war, he's right. No one wants war. No one wants to glorify war. But when you talk about the realities of it, it makes it more difficult for folks to want to just look at armed conflict right out the gates. This reminds people about the all-in cost of conflict, but also holds up the warrior in a way that our nation really should celebrate, because a guy like Chris Kyle deserves being celebrated. It's
a remarkable film, too, and not to give anything away to viewers who no doubt will go see it. The message is strong. Michael Moore, Howard Dean, they're looking at this entirely differently. Here's Michael Moore, second week in a row. Tomorrow's Sunday school. What would Jesus do? Oh, I know what he'd do. Hide on top of a roof and shoot people in the back. Why is he going there again?
He seems to be doubling down. And you know what? Chris Kyle never purported to be Jesus. Chris Kyle didn't serve the same function. I know he served and believed in Jesus, but if Jesus called, you know, people have different duties and responsibilities in society. Jesus came to save our souls. Chris Kyle went to save the lives of the men. Chris Kyle went to save the lives of the men he was overwatching as a sniper. His job was to save American and friendly lives, Iraqi civilians where possible, and that's what he did. So Michael Moore just continues to gratuitously double down. At this point, his comments are just absolutely irrelevant. There's a guy who's made a couple of documentary films, conspiratorial, about the intentions of those who served in Iraq. He's doubling down on his sort of Bush hatred, and Chris Kyle is the latest manifestation.
You know, Howard Dean was on Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO. Just listen to how he tried to explain the popularity for the film. Watch this.
There's a lot of anger in this country, and the people who go see this movie are people who are very angry. And this guy basically says, I'm going to fight on your side. And they bite for it. I think there's some, I bet you if you looked at a cross-section of the Tea Party and people who go to see this movie, there's a lot of intersection.
I mean, who died and made him a shrink?
Well,
explain that.
You know what I think of, Bill? You know what I think of immediately is Howard Dean screaming on the stage, looking like the most angry man America has ever seen, saying "Ah!" Like he invented anger. What an irony! I mean, it again is a example of how the left on either coast looks at Middle America. They're clingers to gods and guns. They're bloodthirsty. They're ignorant. They're dumb, and they just blindly support the American troops. No, Middle America is full of patriots, hardworking Americans of faith and fidelity who love their nation and believe in celebrating someone like Chris Kyle. And that's what it comes down to. Howard Dean just doesn't get it. He's on an island and continues. It really is this sense that they say they support the warrior, but not the war. When comments like this belay the fact that it's always been not just about the war, but also the warrior themselves. They see them as larger tools in a conspiratorial mindset.
He said, this is from his mouth, there's a lot of anger in this country, and the people who go see this movie are people who are very angry. And then he said, I bet if you looked at the cross-section of the Tea Party and people who see this movie, there's a lot of intersection. Where's he getting this?
He's getting this from his ivory towers. He's getting this from the New York Times Starbucks drinking crowd that talk to each other and pontificate about all those angry clingers that are in Middle America watching this show right now, who they just don't understand, who they can't understand that they feel like they're taxed already, like their government is intruding their lives, like religion has been stripped of every aspect of our civil society, like our military is being gutted by this president. These folks that go see this movie, and so many others in California and New York as well, understand that all the freedoms we enjoy have to be protected. They have to be defended. That's what Chris Kyle understood, what so many other patriots who serve in the military understood. That's why they're going to the movie. They want to celebrate and believe in America, and they do. But someone like Howard Dean says, no, they're just angry, and that's how misplaced and disconnected he is from reality.
Thank you, Pete. I saw it. I'm not angry. Most days I'm not angry.
Bill, you're an angry guy.
See you soon, man.